MORANA came in pretty strongly again. And Nugent had a look up to see where the goalkeeper was. Crossen with that lovely raking pass. And Crossen in swiftly to win the tackle. Now there's a chance here, Barker's up with him. And Barker intelligently pulling away, back to Crossen. And it just bobbled up. Or it would have been two. Well, they got everything right again apart from the finish. Crossen nipped in beautifully and it was on from this moment. Barker with no offside intelligently pulls towards goal. And there was a bobble. Wasn't just being kind to Matt Crossen. And Nugent with the pace to get away, but not the pace to reach that touch. Well, only the goals are missing at the moment from the British performance. Argentina are distinctly second best. Molina LOPEZ. That's a goal kick. Argentina were 7th out of the 7 teams that contested the pre-Paralympic event in Spain in May. So I don't think they came in with huge hopes. Any hopes they did had swiftly disappeared when they were beaten by Iran and the Netherlands by a couple of goals on both occasions. Rudder was caught a couple of times there, and the free kick's in a good position for Great Britain. A little bit of a test of the patience with a few niggly tackles being made. Fernandez had a go, and then MORANA came in more strongly. But tough for Argentina to take because they've seen so little of the ball. Now we've seen Rudder hit with pretty ferocious power. He went for placement that time. Four years ago, Great Britain lost a playoff match to Argentina. Ended up 7th at London 2012. Argentina 6th. One or two remember that. Here's Molina LOPEZ. Fernandez Romano had pulled in front of the goalkeeper. And it was MORANA who hit it. And the first save for Giles Moore. The thing for Argentina is every time they have committed men forward, they've been caught out on the counter-attack, and they're already quite wary of that. Central issue about the draw for the two groups of 4 at this tournament was Russia's exclusion quite close to the start of the tournament. Iran took their place, having missed out on the World Championship because of visa issues. Good side, Iran, no question about that. But there was a case that the two groups should have been redrawn, since Russia were in Pool B and they and Ukraine, who were in Pool A, acknowledged as the two best teams in the world. Iran came straight in to replace Russia, and the argument was Pool B was weaker as a result. All water under the bridge now. It's unorthodox from LUQUEZ, but it worked pretty well, the header back in the end. Last 30 seconds of the first half then. The goal from Crossen, lovely individual goal, is the difference. And it's been all Great Britain, really. But this is Fernandez Romano, and he's seeking out Molina Lopez. Levy having to get back here for Britain. Fernandez in the centre. And Giles more competent there, as he has been throughout the tournament, really. Only 19, Giles Moore, the goalkeeper, as well. Added on time, 2 minutes to play. And Crossen's off again. General standard of first touch in the British team is high, and allows them to play with speed. Barker took a clobbering there. Here's Nugent. Irons. Rolled into Barker. There's the turn. All deflected into the path of Crossen first of all, and then Levy. Tight angle for David Levy, but a chance. And Irons was in the right place at the right time there, because Argentina did have men forward. Oh, and that Irons went off his feet, and that was... Yeah, he's the one who's got the yellow card, having been fouled on several occasions himself, but I think some of the frustration he'd felt at being fouled earlier in the match contributed to the venom with which he went in there, and he can't argue with that yellow card. There's Levy's chance. Was an acute angle. Might be the last action of the first half. Indeed it is, an excellent first half from Great Britain. Full of sharp passing, intelligent movement, and the creation of some good chances. The fine goal from Matt Crossen. Argentina have barely really showed, just the one attempt on goal to Britain's 12, and the British team is deservedly in front by 1-0 at half-time. The only frustration for them, I suppose, is that they haven't found the target more often. Only 2 of those 12 attempts have been at NAHUELQUIN's goal, and he hasn't looked the most comfortable, the Argentina goalkeeper. There's confirmation of that, 69% possession. 6 Argentina fouls, which contributed to the 1 foul from Great Britain, which was bad enough for Irons to get a yellow card for it. No complaints. They beat to Ireland in the last group match. Took some frustration out on the Irish, who conceded plenty against Brazil and Ukraine as well. But they weren't entirely satisfied, Great Britain, and said that they would still seek to improve in today's match. I think they've reached quite a high standard today against an Argentina side that looks a little tired and is shorn of perhaps their best player in LUGRIN through injury. Slightly changed British lineup as well, but Ollie Nugent, the 18-year-old, has played with the real verve up front and no little skill. And he's been unfortunate not to be involved in a goal or two. One or two good bits of defending from Argentina, and they've got the athleticism of MORANA in the team. Best moments of the first half. Couple of corners caused NAHUELQUIN a problem. That didn't count as a shot on goal, but it was a nervous moment. Crossen found Barker there on the stretch. That was a lovely pass and a super turn from Barker, and I thought LUQUEZ actually just got a touch to that. Here's Crossen on the run from Levy's pass. Beating his man, beating their best player, actually, Argentina. And scoring for the first time in this tournament. He'd come very close on a number of occasions, notably right at the end of the Brazil match, in what would have been a vital moment. But a good goal today nonetheless. Little bobble here. Yeah, that was the clearest chance apart from the goal. And the only effort from Argentina there from MORANA. So Britain good value for their lead at half-time. It's a narrow one though at half-time. Great Britain 1, Argentina 0. So Great Britain in front by a single goal at half-time. Their dominance of the play would suggest perhaps more goals are in the offing. But Argentina's sides are always resilient, and they've scored late goals with a regularity in this competition so far, notably in their last group match against the USA. There's a little family of birds at the Diodoro Stadium who are quite comfortable pecking at the playing field, and they feel like the players have thrown them off their turf, and they're making their presence known with some angry squawking. Referee had to deal with some of that in the first half as well. So will Great Britain or Argentina finish this Paralympic tournament in 5th place? That's what's on the line here. Great Britain in front by a goal from this man, Matt Crossen, and neither team making changes at half-time. Here's Liam Irons with the run being made by Nugent right at the start of the second half. And Morana went off his feet a bit again. Tackling has been pretty ferocious at times, mostly from Argentina, but not uniquely so. Irons got a yellow card, the only one of the game for Great Britain right at the end of the first period. But then he'd been the victim of one or two prior to that. That's what he'd tell you anyway. Barker making the run here. Crossen on the burst. Came off Morana. He had anxious moments from crosses once or twice in the first half, NAHUELQUIN in the Argentina goal, and they got the timing of that a bit wrong, Great Britain. Nugent still might turn it into something. Don't know whose voice it was on the effects microphone when that corner was taken. Just said, oh, that's shocking. It was Nugent. He slipped and fell, but he nearly had the presence of mind to get the shot away. The crowd are mostly gathered on the same side of the field as the main camera. There are quite a few enjoying the football. Morana with the interception for Argentina towards Fernandez. Interception by Crossen, who did get caught, and the referee has given Great Britain the free kick. It's nice to see players get the free kick when they don't go down. I think that's important. Morana's got a sore groin, I think. Doesn't look so good for Mariano Morana. Becomes merely a question whether he's going to get through the next 27 minutes. That's all that's left of these Paralympic Games for these two teams. Although if Argentina were to equalise, they would play 10 minutes each way extra time and potentially even a penalty shootout to make sure that the classifications are decided at the end of this tournament. World ranking points are available, which are important for seedings for future events. Although, as we've said a few times, seven-a-side football is not on the programme for Tokyo 2020. The IPC said it did not fulfill the criteria for minimum worldwide reach. Rudder, oh, super turn by CROSSEN, and he felt he was grabbed, and I think he was. And having said the referee had given the free kick for a player who didn't go over shortly beforehand, he didn't give the penalty that time. Team sports in Paralympic terms, to be considered for the Paralympic Games, to be considered for inclusion, have to be widely and regularly practiced in at least 24 countries and 3 continents. And it's specifically football for players with coordination impairments that they're talking about. Nugent with a super turn. Ooh. NAHUELQUIN, I think, did quite well to get a right paw to that. Was Nugent's shot going in the far corner? Might get a better idea here. I think it's a good save. Rudder's corner. That same voice, I think it might be Barker's, you know. Bit of a Scouse lilt to it. Repeating the criticism of the corners from Rudder. They haven't panicked under pressure at any point, the British defence, passing their way out with some calmness. Here's Matt CROSSEN. Levy took the defender away. Well, they're not quite hitting the standards they're demanding of one another at the moment, Great Britain. Nugent peeling away, CROSSEN's found him. BASSI with a challenge. He did well for Argentina. 20-year-old midfield player, Matias BASSI. At his first Paralympic Games, so too for Ollie Nugent, starting a game at this tournament for the first time. Britain have 2 other Class 8 players on the bench, the squad captain Jack Rutter and Sean HIGHDALE. But if they want to bring one of those on, they have to take Nugent off. Because you can only ever have one player in the least impaired category, Class 8, on the field at any one time. BASSI having replaced MORANA for Argentina in that fashion. CROSSEN and Levy with the 1-2. Barker pulling wide here. Nugent in the centre, as is Levy now. Barker and CROSSEN look like they enjoy playing with one another. Appreciate one another's technical ability, I think. Carlos CARRIZO is going to come on for Argentina. 17-year-old. It's been quite the rear guard from Argentina to this point. David Levy coming towards the ball. Don't think Nugent will thank him for that. Fernandez Romano. Argentina are going to get a throw in here. Deep in Great British territory. They're all getting a bit grumpy, the British players. Maximiliano Fernandez Scored a really important goal against the USA to get them back in that game. Played a big part in getting the team to this 5th and 6th place playoff. He's had a decent tournament. David Levy is being replaced by David Porcher, who played every minute before today. Porcher, who scored against Brazil, in Brazil, in the opening game. It's a nice thing for him to take away. And Ollie Nugent, who was rather stunned by that clearance, has been replaced by Jack Rutter. But it's defending that Great Britain have got to do here. Fernandez Romano almost got in. Barker really having to stretch for that, and he did really well. Porcher just left the foot in there on Molina Lopez. Or rather, it is LUQUEZ. He felt that. Right on the top of the foot. There's not a great deal of protection in that area. Might be fortunate to escape a yellow card there, David Porcher. Osvaldo Hernandez, the Argentina coach, still has one change. So too does Keith Webb of Great Britain. Wonder if he might bring on Jonathan Patterson at some point. The Scottish international, his 3rd Paralympics. He says that the Games will be his last. He hasn't been involved at any point up to now. Same is true of the British reserve goalkeeper Ryan Kay. Yeah, that was a heavy blow. Good to see him moving quickly, although with a slight wince, Rodrigo LUQUEZ. Here's Barker for Great Britain. Crossen into Barker, back towards Crossen. Rutter came in too. Jack Rutter, they've left the captain's armband with Michael Barker. And they took too long over the throw-in, that's the call. LUQUEZ. Neatly done by BASSI. Oh, BASSI took a poor touch there. And Jack Rutter came in. Here's Barker. Rutter back to Rudder. Rudder's done nicely in towards Barker. Barker's turn back towards Rudder. Porcher now. Just got a little bit stodgy. A little too deliberate. Crossen with the corner. It's too deep, and they haven't found the mark from the corners in this second half. As Barker's facial expression will tell you. It's a useful ball over the top. Fernandez, Romano was after it. Giles Moore has been authoritative and calm throughout this tournament. Big hoof from LUQUEZ. Well, they're staying close to Great Britain, even though they haven't really threatened. Great Britain haven't finished the match off. As we get towards the last quarter of it, that will be the lurking concern in Keith Webb's mind. Cortes going to ground a little unnecessarily there, really. Flung himself in. Someone's got to take it. Rudder it will be. Barker's nearest the goalkeeper. That was him! Beautifully done. The glance from Michael Barker, his third goal of the competition. And it might seal 5th place at these Paralympic Games for the British team. For once in this second half, the set play was accurate, right onto the top of Barker's head. It's a lovely header. Rudder with the ball in, but Barker who steered it home. Now, what will that do for the remainder of the contest? Will we see Argentina attempt to push forward? I suppose they have to have the ball to do that, really. Great Britain have dominated possession so well. 71%. Crossen thinks he can keep this in, and he can just about. Wins the corner. Porcher is screaming at him to use his left foot for the cross in. Easier said than done. Rutter's ball went a long way. Well, they are going to change the goalkeeper, and Claudio Figuera, goalkeeper, midfielder sometimes, is going to get a last go in this tournament. Not quite ready to come on yet. LUQUEZ is in a bit of space on the far side. Nobody's picked up his run. It's a good run. LUQUEZ. Decent side of goal that for Argentina. Really good run from the defender. Nobody was expecting to see him that far forward, I don't think. Here's the second goal again. Not much chance for the goalkeeper there. Gustavo NAHUELQUIN at his 4th Paralympic Games, the 36-year-old. 5th in Sydney, 4th in Athens, 6th in London. Looks like 6th here too. And that might be him done as far as the Paralympics are concerned. Clearly a hugely valuable member of the Argentina squad over a long period of time. And I think Osvaldo Hernandez was keen to recognise that with that change. And here's a chance immediately for Rutter to beat him, the new goalkeeper. Another good move involving Barker. The more you watch of Michael Barker, the more you realise what an intelligent player he is. Claudio Figuera, the 28-year-old who was in London too at his 2nd Games. Must be in a very select group of players who've played outfield and in goal. Barker with a little sway, Porcher calling for it. And then he went and then he didn't, and then he went again and it was too late. It's probably a good job he's an outfield player with back passes like that. Did well to handle it. Well, the 2nd goal has clearly given the British coaching staff a little more comfort. They were talking about a top 5 finish when they arrived in Rio. The referee has blown the whistles. This is not going to count. He'd blown the referee, I think, for the throw-in to go Argentina's way instead. They always knew from the beginning that there was a distinct possibility they wouldn't get out of the group, no matter how optimistic they were about taking on Brazil and Ukraine. They felt they were as well prepared, if not better, than any other British team that's competed in football at the Paralympics, in football 7-a-side. And they ran 2 very good teams very close. Wasn't room for them in the semi-final, so they had to prove that they were the next best by winning this playoff. And it looks like they're going to do that. Fernandez Romano with the foul. Rutter making the suggestion to the referee that he's done it once too often. CROSSEN. Barker. Rutter knocked over again, this time BASSI with the foul. Yeah, the referee is quite right. He's stepping in. There was a smile on Michael Barker's face, but some of the British players are trying to referee the game here, and you've got to leave that to the official. And he's just had enough, quite clearly. The free kick, Rutter to take it. Oh, and take it brilliantly. And it didn't cross the line. He thought it might have done. And then Irons was upended. Well, how that's not a foul, I've no idea, but BASSI might go all the way for Argentina here. And Giles Moore did supremely well. And the British team, with less than 7 minutes to go in this playoff, would do well to keep their mouths shut, and they did not manage to do that. And Liam Irons has been sent off as a result. Well, the referee has simply run out of patience with a British team that kept talking to him. And whether they're right or not, it doesn't make any difference. They're going to win this 5th place playoff. and it's been a fine performance, but you can't let the frustration boil over. He's been terrific throughout the tournament, Liam Irons, and he's unlucky he was the one who got the second yellow card. It was a clear and obvious foul, but the fact that the referee didn't give it, part of that was the complaining that had been done. And they should have realised that they were on a tightrope. It had the warning, Barker had the warning. Well, with 6 men, maybe it's not a done deal yet. Figuera coming out of goal to strike it. Well, slightly surreal happenings here now in the 5th place playoff. Good goalkeeping from Moore. He certainly kept his head there, and Rutter was really unfortunate with that brilliant free kick. British team have made a lot of friends with their excellent play here, and they need to maintain that good impression. BASSI with a fine bit of skill to get away from Rudder, and there are 4 up here for Argentina. I'm not sure that was the best option from Mariano Cortez. He's going to operate as a sweeper keeper, which might be a problem now for Argentina. Porcher bearing down on goal. And he'll collect it himself. Crossen is still in there. And it's a pretty decent attempt at a cross. Argentina with the extra man and looking to use it with the goalkeeper Figuera. Could make for quite an interesting last 4 minutes. Porcher held off the defender. Off, and he's hit the post this time. Crossen kept it in. Rutter out by BASSI. Just spotted a gap at the near post, and there was a gap all right. One of those games you just get caught up in. I think the British team is just completely involved in it now. Little over 3 minutes remaining. Britain with a man down after the sending off of Liam Irons. And even though they're 2 goals up, it's a big handicap having 1 player fewer on the field. Argentina didn't make the most of that. All of a sudden, he's animated. He was sitting down, and I think they felt Argentina with good reason that they weren't going to stand much of a chance of getting back in this game. Rutter leading a charge here, and 1 good return pass there from Porcher, and he might have been in. The Lapwings want their field back. The birds are circling here. Mariano Cortez. Molina Lopez. Carrizo didn't make the most of that. Barker's pressed more into a defensive role after the sending off. LUQUEZ nearly let in Porcher. It's all gone a bit crazy the last few minutes. Molina Lopez can't find Carrizo. And a goal kick. Well, nothing to lose for Argentina. They might as well throw a few men up and give it a go. I don't think the sending off is going to matter a great deal in the great scheme of things. The broad impression that's been left by the British team is of an excellent football team. Got some really good technicians and entertainers on the field. Matt Crossen, not the least of those. He scored a fine goal today. He might have something else up his sleeve here. Crossen for Barker. Porcher is there with him. Last minute of the Paralympic Games of 2016 for both of these two teams. Britain set for 5th place. BASSI getting a bit of fortune from the referee. And that wide by Fernandez Romano. I wondered if it came off rudder for a second, but it will be a goal kick. The defender did get to it. "19 shots to 5 in favour of Great Britain in the official stats. Not so many on target from Great Britain, but they've hit the post twice in this second half. They've been the best side by a margin in this game. BASSI manhandled by Rutter. There have been frustrated players on both teams, and Rutter has taken the ball away, and this is all a bit silly, I'm afraid. He's going to get a yellow card. Now Porcher with the block. Figuera, the goalkeeper, is there. And it'll be a throw into Argentina. Tried to steal a few metres down the touchline. When Sky Arthur Batting, was down for the 5th place playoff, he might have thought it was going to be a little bit more comfortable than this to the referee. Here's Molina Lopez. Argentina hoping that Great Britain might switch off in the last few minutes here and give them a chance of staging a grandstand finish. LUQUEZ. Still 2 minutes more defending to do for Great Britain to seal 5th place. Oh, it's a good try, that. Right onto the foot of BASSI. And he went for the spectacular. Well, James Blackwell's coming on for the last 90 seconds or so. Emyle Rudder struggling a bit, means John Patterson is not going to get any minutes at his final Paralympics. Had a strong game, Emyle Rudder. '22-year-old from East London. And Blackwell on to try and keep the door shut for the last few seconds. Can't help but feel that some of the frustration that the British players have demonstrated towards the officials here tonight is to do with more than just this game, to do with the fact that they were in such a difficult group and feel that their quality has not been reflected by a 5th place finish. But You just have to play with the cards you're dealt. And play they have done, and they've played very well during this tournament. Can they finish with a flourish now in the last minute or so? Here's CROSSEN. Blackwell up to PORCHER. Scored a fine goal against Brazil in the opening match that Britain played. Now well won by CROSSEN from MOLINA. LOPEZ. He's got PORCHER with him. This to apply the finishing touch for Great Britain. Oh! Nearly, but not quite. It's the story of their games. CARRIZO, that hit Blackwell, and one more foul. BASSI on RUTTER. There's no love lost here, is there? None whatsoever. One final attempt on goal, and that will bring Britain's and Argentina's participation at these games to a close. It's Great Britain who end on a winning note. A 2-0 win that still doesn't seem to satisfy everybody. The goals from CROSSEN and from Barker, one in each half, and it's still pretty feisty after the whistle. What a shame. What a shame. Great Britain have won this, and they've won this well, but it's ending with some unsavoury scenes. Great Britain 2, Argentina 0. And there's just no need for it.